Well, here's a few news articles that I thought were interesting. So Elon Musk has bought the largest share of any single person in Twitter, which is 9%, and they've appointed him to the board. So he will now have considerable influence over the future of Twitter. The share rose 25% on this news because, as if you listen to Scott Galloway like I do, he's been complaining for years that Twitter is badly mismanaged. As a public company, it is supposed to be growing, and it has not been growing. The stock price has not been increasing. They have not been rolling out new features or new sources of revenue or anything, and he says they need a CEO that will actually have some imagination and move forward with the company. And Elon Musk is likely to come up with ideas. He says he's going to make changes. He's putting up Twitter polls to ask people what they want. First thing they wanted is an edit button. We'll see what happens. He's also saying that he doesn't think Twitter is free speech enough, which I think most people imagine that means he's going to let Trump back on. And if he does that, that'll shake things up a bit. Anyway, I think we can expect large innovations in Twitter pretty soon as Elon Musk pushes them in a new direction. This one I thought was very interesting and possibly important to students and their relatives. This guy was a cop, and he got ripped off with a new scam I'd never heard of. What happened is he went on an online dating site, and some woman started flirting with him and corresponding online and even engaging in video chat. So apparently they have a real woman involved who will video chat with these people, and she told him what you need to do is to get some cryptocurrency and stake it to make money, which is a real thing you can do. And let me get the term they used for this. It's a fancy form of savings account. It's where you put in your money and you just let it sit there, like commodity pools. But there is a term for it, which I've forgotten. Liquidity mining, they call it, which is apparently a real thing. But what they did was they got him to put some money in an account, and he tried putting in a little and then withdrawing it to make sure he still had control of it, so it was all fine. So he gradually bought more and more Tether until he put $15,000 in there, and then he clicked on a link, and it was all gone. Because the criminals managed to put up a link where clicking that link would perform a signature, letting someone else withdraw your money, which is how they've been doing it across cross-chains. Anyway, he said it really fooled him. He was a cop. He thought he was smarter than this, but they spent months setting it up. And the reporters investigated the cryptocurrency accounts that are used and found that they've been stealing it from something like 15,000 similar people. So this is apparently really going around, and I think a lot of people don't know it, so it is a good thing to know. People are blaming Coinbase because he used a Coinbase wallet, but she sent him to a URL off of Coinbase, and they say if Coinbase had a better user interface, then it might warn you when you click a link that is going to give someone else control over your wallet, and apparently other wallets do have that feature and Coinbase doesn't. I'm not sure if all this is accurate, but anyway, it seems like something people should know about, a new scam which is probably going to get like some of your relatives and stuff, and you might want to know about it. Yeah, I never heard of it till now. The part where they get a real woman and set it up over months in advance makes it extremely deadly, I think. All the ones before this would just do something like send you emails. If you actually chat with a real woman over video chat, that would seem to make it real. But evidently not. This one was very amazing. Something like this is an external link that will take you off the website. That kind of warning, I think they say might have helped. Although I would think it'd be easy enough to talk you into clicking the link anyway. But this one I thought was very interesting, and it helps debunk, everyone's getting very upset about the politicization of the Supreme Court, which is disturbing, but it's nothing new. It's always been very politicized all the way back. And here shows the madness of this. I mean, this is Brett Kavanaugh, who is a guy that the Democrats really, really hate. There were credible sex abuse accusations against him, and he got through anyway. So he got on as a Republican appointee, he got on the bench, but he just made a decision, which is remarkably good for the liberals in its effect, although the details are messed up. What happened is the cops arrested somebody completely fraudulently. Then they made fake charges against this person for resisting arrest who had not resisted arrest, which is apparently a common thing they do. The cops make fake charges based on nothing just to intimidate someone, and then they drop them later. There's a term for this, malicious prosecution. And the court has ruled repeatedly that this is legal. The Supreme Court has said this is not covered in the Constitution, and the cops are allowed to accuse you of things they have no evidence of, just drop those charges later. But Kavanaugh wrote the opinion, which said, well, the court has previously decided that this is prohibited under the Fourth Amendment, and that's the judgment that came out. So now you have this right that you didn't previously have a right, but the actual document signed by the Supreme Court is a lie, saying this was previously decided this way when it wasn't. So that is surprisingly messed up. Anyway, opinions when they were in lower court. I don't know. Anyway, so I think, it reminds me very much of what happens in Congress. You've got the Supreme Court is very far from a logical, reasoned analysis of the Constitution and sticking to the letter of the law. It's quite far from that, which is not reassuring, but that's the way it is. This one, I've heard about this in various ways, but I hadn't seen such damning statistics. Teenagers are apparently in great trouble in America. Something like half of them are thinking of suicide and miserable all the time to where they can't do their work and everything else. And the analyses I've read say this is primarily the effect of social media, because this effect has been going on even before the pandemic. Apparently, smartphones and social networking are extremely unhealthy for teenagers, especially teenage girls. And they have much higher degree of hating their life, being depressed, suicidal thoughts, and so on. I don't know exactly why, but apparently this is really true. And apparently there's a huge crisis in the mental health of teenagers and students. So I don't know. I hope none of my students are feeling this way. But it's I don't know anything about teenagers. It's been a long time since I was one, and I don't have any kids. So, but apparently they're really in bad shape, and much worse than they used to be. So I don't know. I guess we got to get them therapy or something. One thing I've heard is that if you just get people to stop using social media for a while, they get better pretty fast. So it's something like looking online makes you feel inferior to all those people that are posting pictures and looking more pretty and like they're having more fun than you, so you suffer from jealousy or something. It's something like that, but I really don't know what's causing it or what the right treatment is. That's just what I'm hearing from people. But apparently there is a real problem. Comcast will give you a Wi-Fi 6 router. Now, if you rent a router from Comcast, you can get a Wi-Fi 6 instead, which is the first opportunity to get Wi-Fi 6 at a reasonable price. And Wi-Fi 6 is supposed to be much faster if your other devices are upgraded, so that might be something to look into if you're a Comcast customer. And I'm increasingly concerned that we are doing the wrong thing with Putin in Ukraine. We are standing against Putin like he was the Nazis, and which certainly the atrocities going on in Ukraine are terrible, but I heard a European, British commentator a few days ago that got to me. This is what they usually say when they talk to the American foreign policy. They say, you people are just like stupid children, like kicking over an anthill. You don't actually make a plan to accomplish something and then take logical moves to accomplish it. The question is, what are we trying to do with Putin? He's making him the world's pariah, cutting off all the economic input from everywhere, threatening him with a bunch of prosecutions, which will never come true, but making it so he can never leave. We're just sort of backing him into a corner and making him desperate without asking for anything he can give us, which is why they say, why don't you ask him for something he can give you, like a ceasefire, and give him something he wants, like easing the sanctions to get that. This is how you do diplomacy. You don't just ask him to kill himself because he's a bad person, or ask the Russians to have a revolution, which they're not going to have. What you do is you ask for something you can get, and you give him something to get it. And we are totally not doing that. Our actions are going to make the war last longer, and they're going to just make him more entrenched and more powerful. It's what it seems like. And this is, anyway, they talk about the war crimes thing people are talking about, and they talk about the various courts that he can be prosecuted in and how none of this is ever going to happen. To get Comcast 5G, do you need a nearby repeater? No, I don't think so. It'll come into your house with a cable. So you'd have to be a Comcast customer. If you get Comcast internet, then they'll just send it to you through fiber or through cable TV. You need cable TV wire. Anyway, so I'm watching it, and we'll see. And one of the many things going on with Russia is they say they're no longer going to cooperate with us in space or the International Space Station, which seems like that would make impossible for both of us to continue to have the ISS. And now they're getting concerned that Russia is going to start shooting down satellites and engaging in other forms of weapons to take down other people's satellites. So, it is. I understand that Putin's regime is horrible and repellent. They're like the Nazis. You don't want them invading their neighbors and doing these war atrocities, but just expecting to crush him utterly and make him stop existing is not an achievable goal, since we're not willing to actually start a nuclear war. So I think we would be wiser to choose an attainable goal and try to achieve it. For example, stopping the war in Ukraine might be an attainable goal if we actually wanted to stop it, and we are not taking moves to stop it. We're taking moves to torture Putin, to sort of make us feel morally superior, but not particularly to stop the war. Anyway, yeah, 5G is a wireless protocol. So if you get 5G through Comcast, they will have a cable coming into your house and then mount a 5G or 6G router, and then your laptop and stuff can connect wirelessly to it. That's all. The wireless would be only within your house. All right. Anyway, those are the news articles.